internships. Without further ado, I invite the first speaker of the proposition to open the debate. Please welcome them.
Good afternoon, members of the House. Today, we believe that internees should get paid for the jobs by the company they are working at. We define internees as a graduate who just came out to society to find a job and starts working in a company with little or no experience, in hopes of proving themselves worthy and getting the actual job. Our policy is that graduates who sign up for the internship will be paid a minimum wage. The status quo now in the world is that internees do not get paid for internship, and our side will change that for the benefits of both parties, which will be elaborated in my speech later on. As the first speaker, I'll be talking about how graduates are in need of money as my first substantive, and how paying the internees will benefit both parties, the company and the internee. For my first substantive, we understand that as a graduate, they are desperate to find a job and have little or no money. With a little help from their parents financially, they can then kickstart their career in life. When going to a company to work, they will be in high spirits in hopes of actually getting the job itself. If they know that they are not paid, it means that they would survive out there by themselves, and they also have to focus on their needs financially. For example, if they get this fixed amount of money by a parent this month, they will have to focus on how much they can spend each month, spending things like on dinner or some minor things, even they have to calculate. So obviously with this, with a lot of things to worry about, they cannot focus on work and have a lot of other things to do, like for example at work they have to calculate how much exactly that they can rent a house, or how much they have to save up so that they can get this new item that they really need. And when they can't focus, they cannot show their full potential, and they will have a lesser chance of proving to the company that they deserve the job. And when they do that, they will have a lesser chance of actually getting the job, because the company obviously will not want someone to focus on other things rather than the internship. And also it is also a loss to the company if they actually have potential for the job. This is how we are talking about the welfare of the internees and how our side benefits both parties. For my second substantive, which is about the full experience of the job. Internees would like to have a full experience when working at a company. Not only about the interest of the job, it is also about how they can have a sense of accomplishment when they receive the money after working hard for a month. Yes.
Would you pay a student who asks to go to school?
No man, but this is very different. This is when a graduate who actually need the money to survive, and not a student who can rely on their parents for financial needs. When with the amount of money, they can plan out how their lives are going to be with the amount of money. For example, you're an intern who are paid, let's say $5,000 each month and treated like any other worker in the company. They can then plan out how their life is going to be if they keep on working at this company. For example, after around maybe like 8 months, they can then rent a house, and with the goal in mind, they can then work harder so that it is also to let them set goals for themselves for the benefit of the company. Since when they have a goal in mind, they can then work harder, and there is a drive for them to get the job. And this is not about how it benefits the company. It is about how they like their lives when they are working at this company. And to work hard, they obviously need a goal. And if they are not being paid, you are not giving them they will be the months they actually work for will be wasted if they are not chosen to be an actual worker in the company. Thus, to work to their fullest potential, we suggest that we must pay the internees so that they can have a goal in mind, and also to be fair to them since they work for the company also. It is to give them a chance to prove themselves worthy to the company. This is a win-win situation for both companies and the intern. If the intern is good and has potential to carry on to be part of the company. In conclusion, I have said that many of the interns, they really have little or no money. So thus, to help them financially, the company should support them, and also without relying on any other sources, they can have the full experience of the job. This is why I'm part of it.
The speaker spoke for 5 minutes and 28 seconds. I thank the first proposition speaker for her speech, and now to open the case for the opposition, I please welcome Ashley.
Before I go on to my rebuttals, I would first like to make a clarification. Now, currently in status quo, interns do get paid, so their case is based on a completely wrong assumption. Now, I would like to first clarify my definitions and policy first. So, we see that unpaid internships would be interns working at a company or like interning at a company and they do not get paid at all until they are until the boss deems them to be qualified and they prove their worth to be a working employee. So, for our policy, we would make interns get an unpaid internship, and we'll also make them pay for the place in that internship. And then we already have seen this working. This is like a parallel to our education system, where students have to pay a sum of school fees to be in the school each month. And we see that this system has worked before and will work again, and it's also beneficial. Now I will just go back and address my rebuttals. So firstly, for their first up, they said that interns, after they graduate, they have very little help from parents and they need to focus on their needs financially. So they have a lot of things to worry about, and if they're not paid, then after that, they will not be able to focus on their job well. However, we see that these interns are people who are still schooling, and graduates are workers. They are not necessarily equal to interns. And moreover, some of them may not even be adults yet, so they still have financial support of parents. So if they really have a financial problem, they can either go to the government to get financial schemes, or they would just have to face it, which is a whole part of internship. No, ma'am. Now I'll move on to the second rebuttal. So firstly, they stated that in order for interns to work hard, or even workers to work hard, they need a goal. However, this is also present on our side, and on our side there's a higher incentive. So let me explain why. So on our side, we will make them pay to get a place we'll have to make them pay for the internship place. Now there's a higher incentive to work hard on our side because we are ensuring that they do not waste their money at like buying the place in the internship at all. So on our side, they have an even greater goal. So of course, firstly, they want to work hard to cover the cost of the money that they used to pay for the internship, and secondly, they want to work hard to become a worker of the company. So on our side, there's actually more incentive than what they said. And secondly, they also said that it was a win-win situation if we pay interns, but we don't think so. Firstly, because with the interns would just do the bare minimum, and would do the bare minimum because all they need is the money, since if they are so financially struggling as what side proposition has said, no ma'am. And also the company will lose their money if the intern turns out to be not committed or bad. And thirdly, no ma'am. We asked them a POI, and then they state that they would not pay a student who asked to go to school, and we see this as principal inconsistency. Now let me move on. Yes ma'am.
This is very different because a student goes to school to learn, but instead over here they are looking for a job, so it's like totally different example.
Well ma'am, an intern goes to an intern to get a company to intern because they need to learn how to do the job and learn how to get the experience. So we see it's about the same thing because in both cases we are educating the people and giving them experience. No, ma'am. So we stand for interns with more experience and interns who are of quality and who are competent and are committed workers. So now in status quo, we will pay interns less than normal employees. However, these interns may not be committed as they do not have the passion for the field, but rather are doing it for the money. So on that side, we'll have less committed workers. No, ma'am. However, once our policy is in place, some of them would quit the internship. Yes, we agree that. However, those committed will still stay, and that is what we want to do. We want to sieve out the committed ones so that the company will have better workers in the future. Now I'll move on to my first substantive on decreasing productivity. So when interns join the company, the current employees have to train and show them around. No, thank you, ma'am. And then if we have to pay interns, which is what's happening on their side, there will be a higher cost, and the company will want to hire less interns because they need to save money. So there will be less people who will have this experience of interning and getting job experience. So in the future, companies will have a smaller pool of interns to choose potential workers from. And this is bad because we have less qualified workers and less young people with work experience. So less suitable workers to hire, and in the future, productivity will decrease due to a less efficient and less experienced workforce. However, with our policy, there's a higher incentive for company to hire even more interns because they do not have to pay in the first place. And then there's no need for them to spend money, and then also when they hire more interns, more people will get experience and more people will be prepared for the future. And when the interns pay, there will be a higher incentive to work harder because they do not want to waste their money. So there will be a bigger pool of workers for a company to choose from, and when they go out into society, the workers will have more experience, and this will lead to more productivity. And then also, for example, like tuition, this is in parallel with it because they pay to get the experience and get extra skills to better integrate into the workforce. So there's an incentive for them to work harder, and this motion must fall.
The speaker spoke for 6 minutes and 5 seconds. I thank the first opposition speaker for her speech, and now to continue the case for the proposition, please welcome Lucy.
Before I move on to the case, let me paint the house a picture. Imagine yourself as an internee, as a person who just graduated from university and is trying to find a job for yourself to earn a living. However, this company that you are currently working for do not pay you any wages at all. You work for 3 months in this company, and after this period, they feel that you are not suitable for the job and you just wasted 3 months of your life. Good morning, members of the House. As the second speaker of side proposition, I have 2 substantive which are on fairness in the society and the increase in productivity on our paradigm. But before I start my constructive material, I have 2 rebuttals for the House today. The first rebuttal is that opposition came up and made a clarification saying that in status quo, internees are actually being paid. However, we see that this is untrue because this motion does not only restrict to Singapore, and it also affects other countries. And it's not true that in other countries all internees are being paid. is that a side opposition said that by not paying the internees any wages, they would just by not paying them, they would just do the bare minimum. They will just do the bare minimum. However, one question that I like to ask is that how will your side also ensure that by not paying the internees, they will complete the job to their fullest potential. Moving on to my first substantive on fairness. Firstly, we would like to emphasize the point that since workers are being paid by the company, the internees should also be paid, as they are also human beings who needed money to survive and to meet the daily needs. If they are working for the company, they are also contributing to the company's economy, as the company can now have more manpower and more work can be completed in a specific period of time. Thus, we believe that the company should pay internees for the sake of maintaining fairness in the society today. Secondly, we see that these will not be fair, especially to the poor internees. When the poor internees are not paid despite working to the employees, they will have to rely on their parents for money, thus putting more pressure on their parents, while the rich internees will have money to make ends meet due to their wealthy family background, while going for several job interns to find what job they would like, they take the most interest in. So why is this unfair and detrimental to the poor internees? Firstly, without pay, the poor internees may not want to waste time and effort trying out other jobs, but instead stick to this particular job which they may not like it at all. Let's make a comparison on our side. On our side, when we ban unpaid internship, the universities or poly graduates will at least receive money monthly to survive while working as an internee. Hence, when they got the job they wanted.
But there are already financial schemes to help these poor internees, so we see that is not going to be a problem.
The financial schemes used to help the poor internees may not sustain them for very long, and the money will be insufficient for them to make ends. So moving on to my substantive, when they got the job they wanted, when the internees got the job they wanted, they would at least work hard in the job they are interested in this career. They will at least work hard in the job as they are interested in this career path, therefore encouraging productivity. So what have we told you today? We told you that in order to ensure fairness, it is extremely important to pay the internees for their hard work and contribution to the company. Secondly, we have also told you that our side will encourage productivity as the internees will take up the job that they are genuinely interested in and thus put in their best effort in this sector and this field of job. This will benefit the internees, the company, and also the economy. Thus, for all these reasons that we have proven to you today, please stand aside for the
The speaker spoke for 5 minutes and 1 second. I thank the second proposition speaker for her speech. And now to continue the case for the opposition, please welcome Priscilla.
Now, before I begin my case proper, let me first point out a few principal inconsistencies that we have found in their case. So in their definitions, they have pointed out interns are people who have little or no experience and join internships to gain knowledge of jobs. Then they told us that education in school is not parallel to that. But it is, because we go to schools that allow us to gain knowledge and experience, right? So it is a parallel because now they are going to the workplaces to gain experience as well. Hence, the point does not stand. Now, they have not hit of our substantives, they have not even rebutted to any of them. And since they did not, it only shows that they have conceded to the fact that in proposition, more internees means more incentive and more productivity. Now moving on, I have three contentions. Firstly, what is the status quo of interns? Now, they have stated, now interns are people who are still schooling and are looking for exposure, as we have seen from their definitions. Now, they have pointed out that graduates can be interns as well, and we need to prove to you that no, that's not the case. Because graduates are people who do not need exposure because they are already done with schooling. What they are doing now is to move forward into the workforce and become workers. And if they are still schooling and they need financial help, they should be seeking for government financial schemes and not base it on the fact that for interns to get money from being an intern. Because in status quo, and they have never pointed out how much they are going to pay the interns. So we can just assume that they will pay them really little, and hence, if they don't get paid a lot and it's an insignificant amount, then that won't help them in any case and won't help them with their financial needs. Now, secondly, who better allows for committed workers in the long run? Now, I'll rebut to their second substantive. Now, they say that if there's more experience, they'll pay them more. And I'll later explain my substantive why this is bad. But they'll have an incentive to work hard due to money, because now they're given money. So they won't actually nurture people to become, to nurture their passion into to bring it into the workforce. Instead, now they will have the mentality that the only reason why they should be working is for the money and not for their passion at all. And hence, this does not stand together with their fourth substantive. Now, who better benefits the workplace? I'll rebut to their third substantive now. They said that when there's more manpower, it would somehow maintain fairness in this society. And then we would like to first state that interns do not have experience at all. Even if you have more manpower, which are interns, that won't help in any case because they are here to learn and they don't even know what is happening in the working force. And this will not help the workplace at all. Secondly, we have also stated in our substantive on how when there's more interns, there's more time needed to devote to teach these interns. And this will only waste resources on them because now we have to, so this will not benefit the workplace at all because now they have to put more manpower into that. Now moving on to my substantives. I have two substantives for the House today. The first substantive being how we better de-incentivize money, and secondly on how we better prevent the waste of resources. Now in this case, interns get paid on their paradigm, in their paradigm, and the only drive for them to work hard now is because they're paid. Now we see this is really problematic because firstly, interns are here to learn. They are here to get educated and to get exposure to the outside workforce. They are here to nurture their passion for that particular line of work. And now what they are trying to do is really problematic because they can't be able to learn properly in this case because they have the wrong notion that they are in it for the money. They're not here for any other reason. Yes, sir?
Why would someone sign up for internship if they have no passion for the job at all? If you were to sign up for internship, it is obviously because you have passion for the job and you want to be accepted.
Now, yeah, we see that yes, that person has passion, but we are trying to say that when you pay them, it drives their notion it drives their mindset in the wrong way because now they think that the only reason why they should be in this to work is because they get paid, and it's because they place such a strong emphasis on being paid. That's why it drives their mindset the wrong way. Now moving on to my substantive, in the long run, when they go into the workforce, they will not have the mentality, they have the mentality that working is only about money. They won't focus on their passion. And hence, it will entirely tarnish a student's way of thinking because internship, as I said before, is supposed to educate them. And in this case, they'll be influenced and think that money should be the most important thing in this case. Now, when we don't pay interns, we de-incentivize money because we show that working is about nurturing passion and not about its benefits. And you'll truly understand that through this process, whether they actually like this job. Now, we better help them make a choice in their career and guide them based on their passion and not about money, which is what is most important in this case. Now, they will have the right mentality when they go out to work, so we better help sift out committed workers. Onto my second substantive on how they have more ways of resources. Now, on side opposition, they see a need to pay interns. When in the short run, when you pay the interns, you lose money because now the interns will not even choose to join the company. There's a chance that interns will not want to join the company, and in the long run, they'll lose even more money because they hire less interns and they have to waste more resources on these interns. With that, I hope you work with side opposition.
The speaker spoke for 6 minutes and 6 seconds. I thank the second opposition speaker for her speech. And now to continue the case for the proposition, please welcome Minnie.
Good morning, good afternoon, good morning, members of the House. Today I have two contentions. The first one being which side better benefits the families of the interns, and the second one being motivation. So on my first contention, on which side better benefits the families of the interns. This will be split into two, where I will be talking about the well-off interns and the not so well-off interns. Firstly, I believe that this House have to recognize that there are interns that come from well-off families and not so well-off families. And for interns that come from not so well-off families, these are the interns that the families have spent their lives working hard to provide the child with good education. And after saving up the money, they finally have enough money to send their child off for poly or university. And after graduating, the children will have found a company which they are interested in, and they sign up for internship. However, this still doesn't mean that once you get the internship, you will be accepted into the job. The interns still have to go through another round to determine if they are accepted to the job. And for these type of families which are not so well off, if their internship is not paid and they do not get accepted into the job in the end, this is not good for them, because all the time and effort they spend during the internship would have been wasted. And this is not fair for their families. For example, you are a reporter who has a passion for the job, and you sign up for internship at a company and they do not pay you. And you do not come from a well-off family. How are you supposed to support your family then? Side proposition argue that since they are still schooling, their parents will be able to provide for them. But no, thank you. But I believe that this is not true because their parents may be aged and reaching retirement age. So it is the time where the parents are starting to rely on their children for money. And for those not well-off families who go through an internship, all they get is just the experience, and if they fail the job at the end, they will have to apply for another company. And side proposition may argue that they may have gained the experience, but once they sign up for internship in another company, they will still have to go through another long period of no pay, and this is not beneficial for the families at all. So for well-off families, they will be able to get by without money for a period of time, since their families have money to support them. But we have to see that we cannot rely on our parents forever. These interns are grown up, and their parents should be old, and this is why
Would you require tuition centers to pay their students?
I do not understand why you keep on using this education example for this, but we have to recognize realize that this is in the workforce while that is in the education. For tuition centers, they are still like young students whose parents are still working and all that, but these are talking about children who are grown up, like in poly or university. This is very different. Therefore, we believe that this is extremely not beneficial to the families, and the interns will suffer. On our side, however, we ensure that all companies pay their interns, and therefore, during their internship, they will be able to earn money, and they will be able to have something to look forward to, and they will have money to take home for their families. And I will be talking about this more in my next contention, which is about motivation. Internship is very tough, and there are interns who have to stay in small dormitories, have to be up very early to follow their supervisors around, and they have to work from early morning to night. They will even get little sleep as they work hard every day in hopes of getting accepted to the company. Money will then serve as an incentive for interns because they know that ultimately, for all the effort that they put in, they will be given money. Money is just to let them know that all their effort does not go to waste. Side proposition argue that, once they get paid, their passion will no longer be there, and therefore their mindset will be driven to something that only stays in a job because of money. And I believe that this is extremely not true. No one will apply for a job just for the money. They apply for the job because they actually have the passion for the job. If not, why would they bother wasting so much time during the internship? And since it is still not determined that they will be accepted into the job, I believe that they will still stay committed to the job. And in the end of the day, they still have to get raises and promotions and all that. So they will definitely work hard for their job, and therefore we believe their point on motivation does not stand. Therefore, please side with side proposition.
The speaker spoke for 6 minutes and 5 seconds. I thank the third proposition speaker for his speech, and now to continue the case for the opposition, please welcome Sri.
Firstly, they brought up two contentions to the House today. The first contention being the benefits that the intern's family gets. Well, that is a false contention because throughout their three speakers, they did not even bring up one point about how the intern's family benefits. And then suddenly they bring up a contention about how the family benefits. It's not acceptable at all. Thus, that contention does not stand. Next, I have a clarification. People are still getting paid. In case you don't know, people are still getting paid. All around us, people are still getting paid for taking part in internships. So it's not fair for them to assume that no one is getting paid for the experience they're going through. And what we stand for is that they shouldn't get paid, but they should pay that side. Next, they had a few contradictions. Second and first speaker said interns do not have enough money to make ends meet because they just finished university, they're looking for jobs, and they really need that money to, number one, they need to pursue their interests, and they also at the same time need to make ends meet. And then they said interns will be paid minimum wages during internships. How does that make a difference? What is the point of paying if interns only get minimum wages? It does not make any difference. And we also proposed another idea, government schemes. And they said government schemes are not enough. But but definitely the minimum wages that they are going to give would definitely be lower than what the government can offer. Thus, their whole policy is flawed because their minimum wages is not going to benefit anyone in any way, but will only affect the employer as he is going to be wasting money on these interns who there's a 50% chance they will or they won't join. And that's why, to protect the company and to also ensure that the drive for the intern to persevere on is not lost, we get the interns to pay. Next, they also said that because when we brought up the point that you have to pay to get these internships, they said that some of these interns can be super poor and they can have no money to pay. Well, and then they also brought up that these interns are really passionate about pursuing these dreams, getting into that job. And what we think, in our paradigm, if you are really passionate about something, you will go the extra mile to work hard, probably take a part-time job, earn some money so that you can pay that company to enter the internship. Thus, their whole characterization proves that all these interns they're talking about is not actually passionate ones. And that's why our policy helps to sieve out the truly passionate ones, because they are ready to pay to go through the experience. No, thank you. And then, when we brought schooling as a parallel to these work experience and work attachments, they said that's not acceptable. And then they said they had also mentioned that interns are not experienced, have very minimal or no experience at all, and join internships to gain this experience. That's how schooling works too. We go to schooling and tuitions because we don't have experience. We learn from that, and what do? We pay them. Why can't these interns pay? Thus, our policy totally stands because we pay for schooling, which is a way that you gain experience. So the same way, something like internship where you gain experience should also be paid for. Now, they also said that when we hire interns who are like auxiliary force of work, auxiliary force of these working employees, it's more productive. However, quoting what they said, the first and second speakers said, these interns are actually people with no experience, and they are in this internship program to further develop their interests, further develop their experience, develop their knowledge about this career. In that sense, if we are going to put someone like that to work alongside with an experienced employee, it will actually not be productive, but instead counterproductive, because this employee the employee of the company who is supposed to be doing his job will actually have to spend a lot more time trying to teach this intern about how to do work. Thus, the productivity level goes down, and in that sense, it affects the company a lot. And that's why our policy helps everyone in that sense. Now, to the main contentions. Firstly, who better protects employers? Employers are a very crucial part of this debate because they are the ones who are providing this internship. And side proposition is actually kind of exploiting the employers, because throughout their substantives, what we can infer is that all of their actions of the interns is only going to drain these employers out of resources, because they will eventually have to invest a lot of time, resources, money, and all that to choose the right people. But in our case, when people are going to show that they are passionate by paying to the employers, they also get the money to cover the resources that is needed to train a new intern. In that sense, the company does not lose out anything, even if the intern is not qualified for the job. And the employers are also able to spend lesser time trying to sieve out the better people, because it will be clear cut to them about who's the more passionate ones when we follow side opposition's policy, which is to get the interns to pay. Now, who better protects the employees who are already there? We protect employees better because employees will not have to waste their working time trying to teach someone, and they do not feel violated because these interns are not getting paid for something that they don't do. In that sense, because we protect all parties involved in this scenario, side opposition takes the debate.
The speaker spoke for 6 minutes and 21 seconds. I thank the third opposition speaker for his speech. There will now be a 2-minute break for reserves to confer with the speakers. The 2-minute break starts now. To deliver the opposition's reply speech, please welcome Ashley.
Before I move on to the main clashes of today's debate, I'll first like to call out some stuff. Firstly, side proposition has not been engaging with us. They never hit our policy, and they have dropped our first up, which is about the productivity of productivity, and they dropped our second sub on the waste of resources. So this shows that they have conceded to our side and retake the debate. Now there is a principal inconsistency. Firstly, they said that there will be a lesser chance of proving themselves, but then in the next speaker, they said that having money allows them to have a goal to work hard. Okay. And then they have also conceded in our POI when we asked them if they would pay school-going children, and they said no. And this shows a principal inconsistency. So now I'll just move on to the main clashes of the debate. So the main clashes were, firstly, what was on motivation. So I'm going to prove to you how we have more motivation on our side. Now firstly, on our side, we have doubled the motivation because when interns pay for their internship, there's motivation from the company to be accepted and to be promoted to a normal worker, which is also present on their side. However, on our side, there is one incentive that they do not have at all, which is motivation to work even harder to avoid wasting their money. So this shows that on our side, interns will be more motivated and will have a better quality interns who are more committed and more competent to the company. And hence the interns that we will get on our side are better. And moreover, in long term, there's also a motivation on our side for the long term, because if they do not get paid in the internship and they actually stay true with it and they do not quit even though they do not get paid, they can even get specialized jobs in the future. Now I'll move on to the second clash on which side better protects interns. So on our side, the company will be more willing to promote these interns to to a normal worker status because they show commitment and they would stay with the company without even having to get paid. So we will, on our side, will manage to get quality candidates, and the company will also be more willing to accept them, and hence the interns it'll be easier for them to get a job, even though for maybe the first 2 or 3 months they do not get paid. But however, it'll be easier for them to find a job because they have already proven themselves and shown their commitment by sticking with the company even though they do not get paid, and hence this motion must fall.
The speaker spoke for 2 minutes and 48 seconds. Thank you, Ashlyn. And now to conclude the case for the proposition and the debate as a whole, please welcome Emily.
Ladies and gentlemen, compare the world of side oppositions to the world of side propositions. Who better understands the need and well-being of everyone? That side to side opposition. This debate ultimately boils down to which side better benefits the society. The two main clashes are opposition saying that internees are working for money, and school children versus the internees. Let us talk about how our first main clash. Side proposition came up to us and told us that the internees are working for money. But from our second speaker speech, that is not only about wealth that the internees work, it's also about how the internees have interest and passion for the job. They like the job and how much they get paid and how their lives are affected by work and not only wealth. In one of the point of information you have given, my third speaker has said that people sign up for internship because they are interested and they have a passion for the job. Therefore, this point goes to us. Secondly, side opposition said that there's a parallel example between school children going to tuition. But this is not true, as children rely on their parents financially to learn new things and gain experience academically. Also, we do not pay children to go to school. However, the interns are not relying on parents, and a lot of them are financially struggling. Therefore, there is no parallel example or link between students and interns, and this is why I do not understand why you keep bringing this up to us. Side opposition's whole case is flawed because they did not understand our case. Our side is about internees getting paid, not companies paying internees. And as you can see, the on-site proposition better fulfill the motion and better benefit everyone. Therefore, for all I have said, please go with our side of the house.
The speaker spoke for 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending